We'll start off with Chris Fairchild. Chris Fairchild is from Oak Hill High School in Oak Hill, Ohio. Chris is actually from Thurman, Ohio, and you do need a GPS to find Thurman, Ohio. You can see here he's playing a defensive end position. Very versatile athlete for a 300-pound guy, moves very well. Very nimble athlete for a big guy, for a 300-pounder. Doesn't look like he's 300 pounds. Our next guy is Colton Kmetz. Colton is from Urbana High School, which is near Frederick, Maryland. Colton is a tall, rangy, athletic defensive end. Right now he's about 220 pounds, but we anticipate putting some weight on him. He led his team to a state championship as a junior. As a matter of fact, he was first team All-State in the state of Maryland as a junior and as a senior, and I believe there are some pretty very highly recruited players from the Frederick, Maryland area, and he was the only player out of that group that was first team All-State both as a junior and as a senior. He also played in the Crab Bowl, which is the best players in the state of Maryland. That game has already been held, so he participated, and he was one of the outstanding performers in that game. Our last guy as a defensive lineman is Jake Kincaid. And Jake played at Pickerington Central High School in Pickerington, Ohio. He is kind of a hybrid player for us. He's kind of a mix between a linebacker and a defensive end. We have a position that we call Leo, which is a defensive end, outside linebacker. Sometimes he's up in a 2-point stance, sometimes he's down in a 3-point stance, but that's the position that we see Jake playing for us.
I am extremely excited about this 2012 class as a whole. It's a very talented football class. As Coach Hazel said, they're great people. Even more than they are football players, are great people, and they're going to help us. Our linebacker core, I'm ecstatic about. Very athletic players, but more importantly, they're people that are going to help this program succeed on and off the field. When we decided that we're going to take 2 linebackers this year, the one thing I talked about with the staff is I want the most athletic kids we can find. I want them to be good tacklers, and I want them to have a passion for the game of football. And I think that's what we found with these guys. When you look at the first kid, Denzel Burton, Denzel's a kid obviously from Cleveland, Glenville. It's good for us to be able to tap into that pipeline of great talent from the Cleveland, Glenville High School. And as you look on film, most of his film this year was of defensive line, but he does some things that is hard to teach. He just gets off the ball very, very explosively, and he loves the game. He plays the game with a passion, and that's what we're looking for, kids that love to play this game. Matt, just like Denzel, is a very good athlete. You see him right here catching the interception. When I talked to him after I saw this clip, I told him now he's either going to have to get out and take a knee or learn how to tuck that ball away. But he's going to help us. He's going to help us do multiple things. We've got to get him to finish in the end zone right there. Right here, he's playing close to the line of scrimmage. Same thing that Denzel showed. And that's something that we love, as I love as a linebacker coach, is a guy that can play close to the line of scrimmage, can play off the ball, can do multiple things, drop in coverage, and that's what these guys are. They're versatile football players.
Good afternoon, everybody. First off, just a little bit about my position. We're a relatively young group, so we really didn't have a whole lot of experience coming back, but with the passion of 2 senior players that went on before last season, we got a chance to play some guys, and I think they really laid a good foundation for these guys that are coming in. The first young man that I'm going to talk about is Jason O'Brien. Jason, I think he was heavily under-recruited because he is probably one of the most gifted, guys in our class from a size of stature and speed and athleticism. The other thing about Jason is Jason wants to be physical, which I love that in a safety. I mean, that first play speaks for itself. But that's what we want to preach around here, is we want to strike fear in guys and other receivers as they come across the middle of the field, as they roam through our secondary. Right here, Jason's playing corner. Again, he always finishes plays with a bad attitude, and I love that about him. Jason is going to be a kid that I think is going to be a very big kid. You know, he's already 6'3", you know, and I talked to him more recently. He's at 205, and he's only going to get bigger. So he has a tremendous future with this program, and he's excited to be a part of it. Our other guy is Jordan Italiano from Cantfield High School. I deem Jordan as kind of a throwback type of guy, because I believe he's the type of kid that could have played in any generation. He's all day tough. And Jordan never came off the football field. For those of you that follow Canfield, he played quarterback and he played defense. So he played virtually every down. And what I liked about Jordan, he's very instinctive. He always is all around the ball, making plays. And I think that, you know, his biggest asset is he will fight you to the very end. You know, again, another kid that plays with a bad attitude. I think these are two young guys that are really going to step in and command some respect, because they want to win, they want to compete. And the one thing that they told me when meeting with them is they want the opportunity to go against the best. You know, they had in high school, you were the best guy, so you got all the accolades, and that kind of got old to them. They wanted a new challenge. I said, well, you're going to get it, you know, because we're not just going to plug you in there and say, okay, go play. You're going to have to beat out some pretty good guys. So I'm really fired up about these two young men. I think they'll be a tremendous asset to the program.
Thanks, Jeff. Coach alluded to it a little bit right when he started about all the people that helped us, and I guess on behalf of all the assistants, there's a couple of them that are here, and you know, I think it would be pretty neat. I think our compliance, everybody hears that word and everybody gets in a panic. I think we have a great group, and those people help us every week, every day. I think Talia's back there, her group that helps us in academics, do a great job, our administration. We're very fortunate that this is a group effort, and appreciate those guys being around, and our equipment and all those people. And I don't want to leave anybody out. I'm not going to name a bunch of names, but just as on behalf of the assistant coaches, I think those folks really help us a ton, and we're very blessed. First guy that I'm going to talk about, the secondary, the corners, and then the last guy that I locally recruited, who is also he's a special teams guy, kicker and a punter. First guy is Adam Maxey. Adam comes to us from Covenant Christian down Academy down in Texas. We got on a plane and saw this guy on film, one of our young guys, Joe Coniglio. Got some film on him, started the process. We evaluated him. He plays some safety. He's a big, tall, rangy guy. He runs track. Was able to watch him run a little bit. They have actually outdoor track this time of year down there in Texas, so got a chance to see him run. And he's a very tough guy. And but I think the number one thing is we went out in the corners. We really look for some guys with some length, and when I say that, some taller guys with some longer arms to play coverage, some tough guys that can tackle. All of these guys, as you'll see on film, can all tackle. They run, they can make plays, and they, you know, again, we look for a little bit of a taller group, and for the most part, those were the guys that we found. And the next guy was Jamal Roberts. Jamal came to us, as you can see, from Zephyr Hills, Florida. He was a quarterback athlete. You'll see a bunch of plays on him. We saw him on film. As a corner coach, you like a guy that's athletic and fast and can move his feet. We're very blessed, and you'll see some of the plays that he makes here as we go along. He, too, is a guy that can play a lot of positions. You know, Jeff talked about, you know, where guys play. He played quarterback for them. You'll see a snap or two here. Played tailback. He played wide out for them. Played on all their special teams. Extremely fast young guy, and he visited and just really can light up a room. He's a guy that you like sticking out there all by himself, that can play corner. Got great feet, as you can see, which helps you in coverage. But again, I think the neatest thing when he visited here, he was a guy that walked in the room and he could light it up. And Keenan Stalls, playing high school in Tampa, Florida, won a state championship in the state of Florida. Plays corner. Again, you can see he's 6 foot tall, about 175 pounds. Good-looking player. Again, very fast, very strong, very physical guy. Does a great job. And one of the things you saw on Keenan on film, at corner position, you look for guys that can play out in space, and you'll see here some of the plays that he makes, and not a ton of them are all out in space, but you see him making plays, again, a deep ball being thrown, got great ball judgment, great ball skills out in the air, and he'll be a good player for us. But those are some things that you try to teach some guys, but it's nice to have some guys that have some instinct that can play coverage and cover guys out in space. Carrick Roan is the next corner that we'll talk about. Also he's from Texas as well, a little bit outside of Austin. Pflugerville is just north of Austin, went to Hendrickson High School. Again, 5'11", 175 pounds. Played a lot of rolled up corner, played some man-to-man, but you'll see him. He is a very physical guy. You'll see it on film. He can tackle. He is not afraid to tackle. He's very strong. These are not just some of the highlights. A lot of his film, you'll see those kind of tackles on film. The last guy that I'll talk about is Anthony Melchior. Comes to us locally from Aurora. We are blessed. Anthony was a guy that came to us in camp, and one of the coaches alluded to it earlier. It's nice to have those guys pass through your camp. He was a guy that spent a day of special teams day with us. He's a tremendous athlete. You'll see on film. I don't think he ever came off the field. He was team captain at Aurora. I don't think he ever came off the field. He kicked it off. He punted it. He punt returned. He kicked returned. He played wide receiver, and he played defense. And we are going to look at him as a kicker and punter. And again, he was with Coach McAllister, one of our coaches here, during a special teams camp that we had. And he was a guy that we offered right out of camp, and was a great get for us here locally and for a guy in the special teams. The one nice thing that I think is all the coaches would tell you, and I think your team will tell you that, but he's a tremendous athlete, and there's a lot of things he can do, and he doesn't, you worry about kickers sometimes and punters about the pressure of the kick and the punt. When you have those guys that have been in those situations back there, catching punts, catching kicks, and all those things, he's a tremendous athlete, and we're blessed to have him, and especially being a local guy. It makes it a lot of fun. His family is extremely excited. His dad played ball here, and so I know they're really fired up today. And with that,